Hey guys, welcome to Truth Requiem. I have Jeremy Tramp and a very special guest, Ian McGinty, here on the podcast today. Actually, this is going to be our inaugural podcast.
Nice. Yeah, so Ian is the mastermind of artwork behind a lot of cool things like Munchkin comics, Adventure Time, Bravest Warriors, and some new stuff. Welcome to Showside, which seems to be gaining a lot of ground and doing some cool things. So, Ian, why don't you start off telling us a little bit about Showside?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, like you guys said, right now, I will always be the creator of Welcome to Showside. And right now, I'm also the main writer and also the main artist. And essentially, it is a comic series and hopefully soon to be animated series about this town called Showside. And it's like the one town like in the world where like monsters and people kind of live and work together because these monsters get these work visas to like come and live in the town. And the story is kind of focused on this kid, Kit, who he's like a little demon boy, and he has these two best friends, Moon and Belle. Moon is this like sorceress in training, and she has this spell book called the Teen Nomicon, which is like this whiny emo version of the Necronomicon. And then there's Belle, who is she's like the youngest daughter of this sort of long line of like southern demon hunters and things like that. And the crux of it is that Kit's father is the Shadow King, and he's sort of like this Cthulhu, like, most destructive force in the universe type thing. There's kind of this Hellboy thing going on where like Kit's dad wants him to, ascend the throne and kind of rule the universe, and all Kit wants to do is like skateboard and hang out with his friends and eat from food trucks and just kind of like all the stuff that we all like to do pretty much.
I dig it.
That's fantastic.
I actually have to bring up a couple things. Kit, I noticed a lot of the art for Kit when I first met you at Comic-Con. Well, actually, the hair you have in your picture right here, Kit has the same hair as you, in my opinion. Was that
Yeah.
on purpose, or is that supposed to be like a mirror of you?
Yeah, it's funny because like you're not the first person to point it out to me, and they're like, dude, but I went back and I'm looking, and like almost all the characters I do have like kind of this weird like big hair mohawk kind of so it was not on purpose at all, but I was like, oh damn, like,
hey, wait a minute.
You're right, well, thanks for pointing that out to me. Like now I'm just totally bothered by it all the time. But
Oh man, I didn't I thought it was intentional.
No, it wasn't at all. What it was, Kit's whole design was like meant to be kind of like very simplified, and the idea was that a big red like mohawk thing would pop really nicely on a page, especially because he's like a kid. And like when you're doing character designs and things like that, one of the first things they warn you about is like, if you create a main character who has an unusual skin tone, i.e. like a skin tone not found in real life, like, Kit's green, then like that can either be really great or really detrimental. Like, for example, there's a reason you don't see tons of like blue skin main characters unless you count Avatar, which was still pretty bad. And that's because sometimes that doesn't pop. And with Kit, like the light green and then with the big red mohawk was like, oh, it was cool, it popped. I mean, that's how I designed him anyway, like in the beginning anyways, but I guess subconsciously I was like, I want him to have that cool hair, I guess.
I like it.
I dig it. It's definitely an awesome little hairstyle. But anyways, we brought you on here because I know we were just talking earlier today about, you're being interviewed left and right. So we wanted to make this a little bit different for you.
Sure. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. We wanted to make this something that you remember and be like, oh, hey, that guy. But
what I thought was cool, so I noticed that you're doing the voice for Kit on some of the animated stuff?
Yeah.
That is super cool.
That's been cool. Yeah, it's been really, like, I was not, I'm not classically, trained as a voice actor or anything like that, but I'm finding myself kind of like asked to talk more and more about it, which is awesome. Like it was really cool, Yeah, so I voiced the main kid, and that Kit, and that was just basically out of a necessity because we went through a ton of portfolios and we interviewed a ton of people to do the voices, and we just like I could not land on who would be Kit. so we had someone in, and it wasn't working out, and we had 30 minutes to go in like the session, the voice recording session. I was just like, you know what, dude, like give me the script. I'm just gonna do this as a backup. Like we had 30 minutes to go. I'm just gonna say all the lines, go through, just so we have like something. What was supposed to be like a scratch track, essentially. But the more we listened to it, the more it just kind of worked for us. I don't know. It was kind of funny how it worked out. But I hate, like, as an artist, and like you kind of hate everything
absolutely
you do.
right.
And I did not hate like how this came out. So
yeah,
like, right,
that's cool because you're writing it, you're drawing him, you're breathing life in him with your voice. That's just really cool that you get to have that much kind of creative input. As opposed to directing someone how this should be said. When you wrote it, you said it in your head, and so you're able to convey that yourself.
Exactly. And I mean, I did direct, everybody else. It was interesting to be like, I was kind of thrown, like, we all flew out to, LA. The Modern Prometheus, the production company that like made it, is based in New York. Mm-hmm. I live in Savannah, Georgia. And then everybody else is based in LA. So we were like, all right, well, the animation director and the other voice actors and stuff like that. So we were like, all right, well, we'll fly over there and get in there. And like 10 minutes before we were going to walk in, the guys turned to me and they're like, yeah, so you're going to be the showrunner and direct everybody. And I was just like,
by the way, no big deal. Heads up.
Yeah, no big deal. Oh, by the way, like Henry Rollins is going to be walking in here in like 20 minutes. You need to tell him.
Fantastic.
It's just like, what? But it came out good. Like, it was really fun.
Yeah, I saw the one that's on ianmcginty.com.
Yeah,
that's cool. That looks awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and that's basically like the pitch at this point. And thankfully, like the director Brian Kaufman and his team did a really, really amazing job. I mean, it came out. Yeah, there are like bumps and peaks and valleys and things like that, and stuff that probably I noticed that other people don't notice. But it came out super like smooth looking and like really nice. And we were looking at that, just being like, man, we could like see this on TV right now. For a team of like 12 animators. It was pretty fantastic. And thankfully, we have just started being in the works with some people about maybe getting this to an actual series, and I can't say too much about that at the moment because nothing's finalized. But it's cool that it's only been up there for about 2.5 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're already over 10K views, and people are really responsive to it. I mean, of course, you get like people on the internet who just are there to hate on everything.
Oh, of course.
But thankfully, I was kind of like prepared to have that. What I was not prepared for was the guys who like follow you around on like every social media platform you're on, just to like tell you how horrible your stuff is.
For real?
Yeah, for real. So that's kind of been a new thing. I've been like, wow, people are really like, trolls are dedicated to do their trolling. You know what I mean?
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, and it's only been like two people who've done that, but it's been real. I mean, one guy sent a letter to my publisher.
What?
Yeah, so I'll tell the story because it's
sounds
super
great.
So like, I'm not mentioning any names and stuff like that, and and this and that, and I don't want to like, I'm not making fun of the guy because I don't know anything about him. Like, he could be a 45-year-old man, he could be a 12-year-old boy. I don't know anything about the guy, and I'm not making fun of him because everybody has their opinion.
Absolutely.
And they're entitled to it, but it was just kind of funny how this worked out. So he sent a letter to my publisher Z2 that was like it was a long letter, and it was just kind of like talking about how I'm this talentless hack, and all and that all I did was like rip off Adventure Time and just basically just how like terrible I am at everything. Wow. And saying to the publisher, like, I can't believe you guys, put this out there. Like, I'm sorry, I couldn't get through it. Like, the writing is bad and the character design is bad. And, Ian McGinty is just another one of these, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. And then at the end, he was like, provided a link to his work. And he's like, but if you guys want to publish something good, check out my stuff.
Interesting.
Oh, my God.
That's what a great way to tell the guys who you want to publish your stuff how horrible they are at their job, and then be like, oh, but can you publish my stuff too? It's just crazy.
Right.
That's great.
My gosh. Yeah, it's kind of funny that you brought that up because I've been like I said, for those of you who obviously don't know, we met at Comic-Con, and the whole reason I'm doing this whole project is because of Ian. I told him that I wanted to get into voice acting. I wanted to get into all this, blah, blah, blah. And he said, oh, just, start a podcast, get your voice out there, whatever.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it's
It's as simple as that.
It's cool. It's like it's so easy nowadays to just like put a podcast up and people will listen to it. It's really neat.
Right. Speaking of kind of just doing what you want, like I guess what was your first like your big break where you kind of like you really kind of broke into something and that led to a lot of different work?
Yeah, I mean, for me there was like two, I guess. One was Viz Media came to me, and they publish a lot of manga stuff, which was interesting. They came to me and they were like, "Hey, we're doing this comic series based off the Ugly Doll toy line." Like David Horvath and his wife created these things called Ugly Dolls. They're basically just these cool little stuffed animals, and they're kind of neat because they have this weird like indie cred. Like you see like photos of like Snoop Dogg holding one of them, and weird.
I
Like
see
really,
those things all over Comic-Con
they're
every
all
year.
over the place. Yeah, exactly. Like they're huge, and you know so I was like, of course, like we'll do this comic. And it was me and a couple other artists, and that wasn't like my big break, but it got me like figuring out, you know, how deadlines work, how to talk to editors, all that, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The big break was when Boom Studios came to me and wanted to do the Adventure Time Candy Capers miniseries, which I did. So that was like, and it was really fun, and that was and obviously I look at it now and I'm like, man, this looks horrible, but at the time,
Right.
you know, at the time it was cool. Like, I mean, I went from, you know, I got that basically right after I graduated. I got those jobs. And I was really
fantastic.
lucky. Yeah, like most people have to wait around for a while.
Oh,
and
yeah.
put their stuff out there. And I'll be honest, like I am not great at like putting stuff on the internet. Like I'm good at kind of just, you know, I'm really into like Twitter and Instagram and things like that. But I'm not good with like Tumblr. I don't really draw a lot of fan art and that kind of stuff. So I was really lucky in that they came to me directly and they were like, hey, try out for this. And they liked what I did. And so Candy Capers was kind of the big one that sort of broke me into like a ton of work for Kaboom, you know, for their all ages stuff and all this license stuff. So Showside is actually my first creator and thing that's all mine. Everything else I've worked on has been like other people's properties, which is awesome because it's kind of like you just get the script, you can just kind of draw all day. But you know, having this be like my own personal thing has definitely made it that much more, you know, special to me, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, the Adventure Time stuff was kind of like the first big break, and then as far as like the animation goes, that just came straight off of pitching the comic, and then they were like, the sister, you know, production company Modern Prometheus was like, dude, like this is awesome. You know, I'm paraphrasing here, but
sure.
they were like, you know, they liked it, and they said, we want to try to make like a, you know, what would you think about doing an animated pilot? And I was just like, yeah, awesome. And like I said, you know, me voicing the guy was totally a fluke, and you know, this kind of stuff. But yeah, it went all the way back to Adventure Time, and that was like 2 or 3 years ago, I guess, when that came out. With Yuko and Ananth, who do Johnny Wanderer. They do a webcomic called Johnny Wanderer, and it's really popular, and they're awesome people. So
That's super cool.
yeah, it's yeah, man, it feels like it was forever ago, but I guess it really wasn't that long ago. But yeah, that was pretty much it. And I mean, that launched into, well, basically what happened from that is I did some covers for their Bravest Warriors series, and they liked those. And then they were like, we're gonna reboot that, you know, and hook you up with Kate, you know, with Kate Leth. And then Kate and I kind of were the main leads on Bravest Warriors for about a year, which was cool.
Nice.
And then that ended, and then we kind of pitched this. And in the you know, I've worked on tons of stuff, like, and it's all kind of spidered out from there. You know, Steven Universe and Hello Kitty, which is weird, but you know, like, yeah. So,
I don't know why that just made me think of Avril Lavigne, that Hello Kitty song everybody hated.
Man, I posted that because I I have this thing. I don't know if you guys are like me, but like I'm really fascinated with like bad media.
Right. Oh, dude, I love it.
Yeah, and like I've always, you know, I think it's because I grew up like watching so much Mystery Science Theater 3000 that like I just am really into riffing on, you know, bad stuff, which is, you know, maybe not the best thing, but that music video came out. I watched that thing like 25 times, just like, oh my God, this is like the worst thing ever. And I posted it on my Facebook, like, you got to check this out. And like this dude, Mike Kunkel, who was a big time Disney animator, and you know he does Hero Bear and the Kid. He's like, you know, a really popular, awesome guy. Like messaged me and is like, "What the hell? Why did you make me watch this?" And I was just like, "Sorry, Mike. You know, I didn't make you do it, but now you know it exists." Yeah.
Now you know what not to do if you ever make a music video.
Yeah, pretty much. She's
Sorry, Avril Lavigne, if you ever hear this.
she's making more money than any of us. I
Right.
guess.
Yeah.
Whatever. She still wins, so I will say whatever I want.
There you go. On a side note, again, I remember in that panel, the one thing that you brought up multiple times, you're like, parents always come up to me and ask, was going to art school really worth it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me, was it?
Here's the thing, and like, this is my go-to response. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I went to art school. I went to Savannah College of Art and Design. I'm paying crazy student loans. Mm-hmm. That said, I don't. For me, it worked for me. Like I always say, like I don't know your kid. I don't know you. I don't know anything about this person. So it's like, you know, it's hard to say like if art school is worth it or not. I go like it was worth it for me. Would I have gotten, you know, would I have started a career in comics and doing all this stuff without art school? Yeah, probably. But it probably would have taken like twice as long. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
It would have probably taken 10 years instead of like 2 years.
Yep.
You know, so it's sort of like it was worth it to me as a faster kind of like, you know, means to an end, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But like through the school I met, you know, and I now have like a network of people who I went to school with or used to go to the same school. And, you know, this like just yesterday, you know, I had a cover I was working on for issue 6, and the guy who usually colors my covers was like, I can't do it, you know, in this amount of time. I got something going on. And like, I just posted a thing on Twitter, like, you know, any friends of mine, like, if you could just color this thing for me, it's kind of an emergency. We need it done. And within like 2 minutes, you know, someone who I used to go to school with was like, yeah, I can totally do it. You know, so it's just like having that kind of network via the school was definitely worth it. And I did the grad program, so I was only there 2 years.
Sure, yeah.
And I still made like a million contacts, because SCAD does this thing, or they used to do this thing called Editors Day, where they would literally fly in editors from like major publishers, Dark Horse, Marvel. You know, we had a DC guy, Chris Starris from Top Shelf. This is where I met Shannon Waters from Boom.
Nice.
You know, when Candy Capers came, and that, you know, instead of kind of schlepping around with your portfolio at conventions, you know, and being like, you know, please look at my stuff, you know, and standing in line forever, you know, I got to hang out with these people at like a karaoke bar and just kind of like shoot the shit. You know what I mean? Like that was really, that helped a lot. And that wouldn't have been able to happen like without the school.
Right.
So. You know, it's kind of funny that you bring that up, going around conventions, slumming around with your portfolio. I mean, I'm not an artist or anything, but going to Comic-Con, speaking of that, that's another thing. I got screwed this year. Like, I've been going the past 5 years, no problem getting all 4 days. And this year, oh, hey, you got 1 day.
I mean, at least you got the 1 day.
You know, yeah, it's better than nothing. But
yeah. I mean,
like, this whole randomized ticketing system is ridiculous. Like, I get it. It's completely mainstream, and everybody just has to go. But let me know if you guys agree with me here. But Comic-Con was made for the, let's say, the outcasts, the nerds, the geeks, to be our own little escape from the world.
Sure.
And now that it's, honestly, ever since Twilight showed up there, everybody's like, ooh, Comic-Con. Yeah.
I mean, full disclosure, I've never been to a convention that I wasn't invited to. And that sounds super snooty.
No,
to say.
Totally, it makes sense.
No.
But
I've only been to a convention I was shooting, so
yeah. So there you go. Like, you know, I haven't been there as a fan, really, and you know, I've been there, you know, as working and stuff like that. So I've never really gotten to experience a convention just from like a fan perspective. But inherently, yeah, I agree with you. It does seem kind of, you know, crazy to sort of, you know, you're excluding people essentially who either don't have that much money or can't click on the link fast enough, and you know, and this kind of stuff. That said, though, like I cannot use San Diego or New York Comic-Con as like a bar for what a convention should be at this point, because at this point it's not a convention. It's kind of like a circus.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like going to the zoo, and the artists are like the animals, and there's it's all about products and this kind of stuff, and that's fine. Like, that's awesome. Like, I love buying stupid stuff I don't need. I have tons of action figures and Gundam. I just bought a Gundam yesterday that I don't need or have room for or anything like that, but it's, you know, but I do it because, you know, people are consumers of content.
No, absolutely.
Which is fine. Taking advantage is fine. What I say to, you know, when someone's like, man, like San Diego, blah, blah, it's like, well, now so main like because of San Diego and the success of New York Comic Con and these larger ones, now we have smaller conventions popping up in smaller towns, and those are the ones that I go to like have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, so those are the ones where I actually get to walk around and buy that stupid stuff I don't need and talk to artists I like and things like that. You know, like I just did. You know, there's Ace, which is Asheville Comic Expo in North Carolina, and you know, there's Heroes Con in Atlanta, which is starting to get big as well, but it's still pretty fun.
There's something called Awesome Con coming up there, right? I've been hearing a lot about that. Is that like the new up and coming thing?
It's like it's popping up. I mean, it's in DC, so there's kind of like an instant fan base there, and it's like easy. It's an easy way. It's easy to get there from Jersey and stuff like that. So yeah, Awesome Con and then is great. I've done it 1 year. And that was with Boom, and it was just me and Brooke Allen, who's the lead artist on Lumberjanes, and then just like one employee from Boom, and we made tons of money, and it was awesome. We had a really good time.
So cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then the other one I just did was it's in Bethesda, Maryland. Is it like Small Press Expo, SPX? Yeah, so I did that for the first time. And I went kind of expecting it to be like a smaller thing because it's called Small Press Expo. There's no major publishers. I think it's all kind of like indie people, like mini comics, zines, stuff like that. And it's like a 2 or 3 day thing. And it was huge. Like it was crazy big for being in like this ballroom at a hotel. I couldn't believe how gigantic it was. Like I flew in just to do a panel about animation and kind of talk about stuff. And I was like overwhelmed within 2 seconds. So it's just crazy. Like even the small ones are blowing up. Like it's crazy, you know?
That's super cool. Huh.
And that's
so.
Go ahead.
Like obviously, as like a working professional in the industry, do you get much time, or do you get much like creative inspiration to just kind of work on, goofy things for yourself for fun, or is it mostly just you're working on like projects?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to, talking about how like I don't really. When I say like I don't do fan art, it's not because I don't like fan art, because I love fan art. It's because I don't have time to kind of doodle stuff of my own. So Showside has kind of become like my fun doodling time because it's all I get. It's all my stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So, which is great because it didn't used to be like that. I mean, I used to be, I'd be working on 6 books at the same time, and it would all be licensed stuff. I'm amazed that I have like fans now because I rarely get to put out like my own content at all, which it's tough. I mean, it's tough, dude. Like it's so fan art is so interesting because it's like instant fan base. You know what I mean? Like you draw a Steven Universe thing and you put it up there, and you're instantly gonna get just like a bunch of clicks just because it's something that's already established. And that was my worry for a long time actually with like how I was viewed as an artist, I guess, because everything I worked on had a fan base, like a good analogy is like at cons, when I'm there kind of signing for like Bravest Warriors or something like that, like you get some people who are like, I really like your artwork, but mostly you get people who really like that property you work on.
Sure.
Right. You know what I mean? So it's been very uplifting and relieving that I've been getting a really good response with Showside, which is all stuff, you know what I mean? But yeah,
absolutely.
So like, yeah, I don't have a ton of time to do my own content, but Showside has sort of become that. So I'm thankful for that at least. Yeah.
Did you always kind of start out in this industry wanting to do kind of like the showrunner, like writer?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
okay, cool.
I mean, I've always wanted to be like the top dog.
Sure.
But
That's
yeah,
cool.
no, I mean, you can't be. I always refer to it as like a hired gun. You can't be like the hired gun on properties like forever. You can't make you can make a a modest living that way if you don't have children or anything else. But you can't do that forever, at least in my opinion. I mean, I'm sure there are people who've been doing that for years and years and years, and it works great for them. For me personally, I was like, all right, I need to get my own stuff out there, and then kind of bump myself up from being kind of this just let's hire this guy because he's fast, type thing.
Right. I love it.
So do you consider yourself, total segue here, not even a segue, just jumping into a whole nother subject. Speaking of nerdy cons, do you consider yourself a gamer at all?
Yeah, I finally think I've crossed the line of being like, yes, I will call myself a gamer. I've always held back on it just because of like, whenever you say that, people want to start very poisonous conversations sometimes.
No. I mean this with the purest intention and love.
Yeah,
I mean,
no. So I'm more of like a casual gamer,
Yeah.
I would say, which just goes from like being the kind of person I am, But yeah, I'm definitely. I'm down. I'm re-downloading Dragon Age Inquisition right now.
Nice.
What
as
systems do
we
you have?
as we talk. So
So what systems do you play on right now?
I'm behind the times. I'm not gonna lie. I'm slowly like kind of building up into it. But I just got a PS Vita for the plane because I'm on planes a lot lately.
Sure.
Oh, nice.
And I love it. Like I had 3DS. I only for Pokemon basically. Like there hasn't been anything else.
That game.
Same here. That's the only reason why I got a new 3DS.
Yeah. And I got a cool one too. It's got like well, it's funny actually. It's kind of hilarious. Anyway, so I have the 3DS and I got the PS Vita and I have a PS3 and then I got a refurbished Wii U.
Nice.
And I'm finding myself playing that Wii U a lot lately.
Nice. What games are you playing on the Wii U?
Well, here's why, and this is kind of like here's why is because Legend of Zelda: Wind Waker HD.
Good man.
Which is like probably has inspired me artistically more than like any content out there.
It is a beautiful game.
It's amazing, and so I kind of ignored it for a while because I've been burned so much on like HD, transfers.
Right.
Like for example, I love Final Fantasy X. I'm a big Final Fantasy fan, and I love the HD remake and all the stuff they added to it. But at its core, it wasn't like really that different. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, I was doing research and then all of a sudden I'm like, this new Legend of Zelda Wind Waker has like a ton of extra content. Like they redid a bunch of stuff. So that's kind of why I got it. And it's just, it's funny because getting into that and I've been playing that, all of a sudden I found out that I am actually now a huge Legend of Zelda fan. Which I was not at all. Like for a long time I haven't played like any of them. And I was going through and I was like, dude, there's like 2 3DS sequels to it. And I bought those like instantaneously. And so I'm hoping to play that whenever they show up. And then like I've been playing the Hyrule Warriors, which I had never played. I know it's based kind of the Dynasty Warriors type thing. I've never played one of those, but I'm loving this Hyrule Warriors game. And now they're gonna have this new gender swapped version of Link, this Linkle character.
Oh yeah, I was reading
about that. Yeah, I'm really pumped about that too.
Interesting.
But yeah, so I'm playing. Okay, so I'm playing Hyrule Warriors and Wind Waker. I just finished the last episode of Life is Strange on the PS3, which is a game I love. I'm re-downloading Dragon Age just to give it another shot because the version I had was super buggy, and I'm kind of hoping there'll be patches that have fixed it up. I'm kind of all over the place. Like Ni no Kuni, I love that game.
I remember that game.
Yeah,
I haven't played that in a long time.
It's still rad. Like the battle dynamics are strange, but it looks so awesome that I just don't care at all. And then, but like I said, the PS Vita, I've been playing the hell out of that lately too, and that's almost solely because I'm like the biggest Persona 4 fan ever, basically. So,
you're the first I mean, I don't really talk to many people about PlayStation, not to say I'm against it, but Persona. I think they announced something about that at E3, or they talked about it, and I never talked to anybody that actually played a Persona. What is the draw to it?
So game? To me, okay, well the whole thing. Well, one, for me it had turn-based RPG elements, which to me is super important because since I'm like kind of a casual gamer, like I tend to play like while like I'm cooking dinner, or I'm like I don't get into like kind of hardcore mode. And one draw of it is that it has turn-based RPG tactics or whatever, instead of being like real time. And every RPG out now is like, I swear they're all like real time, just kind of button mashers. I like being able to kind of like take my time and strategize, how I'm gonna do stuff and think about it. And with the Persona series, it's also like a quote unquote dating simulator as well. And like I say dating simulator, but the thing is that to kind of like level up your characters, you have to build relationships with other characters. And that's really appealing to me. So it has elements of kind of like
you get a little more attached.
Yeah, like you get more attached to characters and things like that. And the stories are always awesome as well, especially like Persona 4 and Persona 3 have like these incredible, just crazy stories. And then there's these cool elements of like Japanese culture that were really neat to me, that they sort of maintain in there, and kind of explore. And there's a lot of stuff kind of like about like classroom culture in Japan and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just like it's all over the place, and it looks great, and it has these elements of like I'm trying to figure out the word. Like it's had elements of like a point and click, like word type game, where you like have choices and kind of like Life is Strange or whatever. But then it also has the turn-based like dungeon crawling, which is all really great. Just kind of grinding, and it just has a lot of elements of different things combined with like this exploration of relationships and gender roles and like sexual orientation, things like that are super interesting.
That does sound really interesting. I don't
Either
know.
you love it or hate it. Like there's nobody who's a casual.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna kind of say. It doesn't sounds like you're much more of a casual, or more than a casual gamer if you're into something like that. But again, you do have a lot of time on planes, you said, so gotta do something.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun, and I have a friend of mine just finished 3, the Persona 3 FES, which was like the last great. I guess Persona 4 was on the PS2. So like Persona 4 was like what I consider like the last great like PS2 game. But Persona 3 FES was the third one. I have a friend who just finished it, and she like texted me and was like literally in tears because of how the ending messed her up and stuff like that. So I was like, yes, awesome.
You actually just reminded me.
It's good.
You just reminded me of an article I read before we started this podcast this morning or afternoon. What time is it? Whatever. Sony actually just decided to do a backwards compatibility thing for the PS4 that, wait for it, enables you to play PS2 games.
Oh my god. Okay.
I was just like, crap. So you're getting an Xbox One, right?
I am gonna just go ahead and say that I really hate Xbox. I don't have any Xbox stuff, but I don't have. It's just I grew up playing.
The games that you've explained seem not Xboxy, so that's totally
It's hard. It's hard to justify buying a whole new console. So I've been holding off on getting a PS4 because there hasn't been a ton of games that have kind of had my draw. Now that you're saying that there's going to be backwards PS2 compatibility, I'm like, okay,
that'd
this
be amazing.
is going to be
I'll try and
awesome.
shoot you that link later. I know I saw it, but Sony didn't even really announce it, because I know at E3 Xbox that was like the announcement. Other than that was the announcement.
That's so awesome. Like, because the main reason I bought a PS3 and a Wii was to download the old PS2 games and Nintendo 64 games that I used to play all the time.
Exactly.
So that's amazing, because I've been pissed off that the PS3 doesn't play all my PS2 games. That said, most of them are available to download. Like my whole library on my PS3 is like every Final Fantasy game that came out. Like Final Fantasy 9 is like my ultimate favorite game ever. And I've played that like 10 times, and on the PS3 it's just so cool to see it like huge.
Heck yeah.
At the risk of getting shot, I'm the only Final Fantasy I've actually played. I don't know the number, but it was something Lightning Returns.
Oh sure. Ugh, yeah. See, but this is what I get into about the turn-based RPG stuff. Is that so that was Final Fantasy 13, the one you're talking about.
Okay.
Which was in 3 parts. It was in Final Fantasy 13, and then the second one was like something or other. I don't even remember. It was like, just 2, like 13-2, like they did with X2. And then it was Final Fantasy 13 Lightning Returns. And what I've been told, the rumor was that the guy who created the character Lightning like kind of fell in love with her, and that's sort of why we got 3 installments of a fairly what I consider kind of not a great game. That said, Final Fantasy 13 I actually think is pretty awesome. The first one.
The only Final Fantasy I played, like that MMO that came out for a little bit.
Right.
And then I saw Advent Children, and that's my experience of Final Fantasy.
I mean, and there you go. But this is like what I get back to is though that like 13 and all those ones, the ones you played, they're more kind of like action RPGs, which just kind of like I'm kind of bored by them personally. And now there's 15s coming out soon, and I'm kind of like nervous. I know, it's crazy. Like,
I couldn't get into it at all. Just the whole turn-by-turn thing. I don't know if that's how the other Final Fantasies are, but I'm just like, I couldn't.
I think most people that are Final Fantasy fans enjoy the turn-based.
Oh, for sure. I just if
Yeah.
I'd
You're used to
Fallout.
first-person shooters and whatnot.
Right.
Just
Well, that
Fallout.
like that said, like I said, the first installment had a cool kind of half and half, like half turn-based, half like real time or whatever.
Sure, yeah.
But it takes like 35 hours to like get
Whoa.
into how cool, like the cool elements of the game. Like it was basically this 35-hour demo, like learning. And so like I hated it, and I stuck with it finally. But after, like the 30-hour mark, I was like, oh, okay, this actually isn't that bad. Plus, it's like it's gorgeous as well. It's like a really great looking game. But I mean, I can understand not digging it because I played the 2 sequels to it, and they're just horrid.
God, yeah. I remember I got it. I got it for free or something, and I just remember the graphics. This was back on 360. I thought the graphics just blew me away for like.
They always did an amazing job.
Oh yeah. And
Yeah.
I was thinking it's like a 4-disc. No, two or 4 disc, and it was just.
Jeez.
Ooh.
Man, that's
entirely beautiful.
Yeah. No, I mean, but this is like, this has been my complaint, like with newer games, is that like, so I've been reading all this stuff about, like the PC version of the new Star Wars Battlefront. I guess literally today I was like on Amazon, just like reading, and all the reviews were like, look, it's like a amazingly gorgeous, awesome game, but there's like 10 hours of content.
Dude, I know. I just got it, and I'm going. How is this worth $60?
Yeah, exactly.
Not only that,
So,
but the freaking. Have you seen the season pass? The season pass is like $60 or $50 too.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's.
dude, what the hell, EA?
yeah, I mean, like I
It's
was reading,
EA.
there's no like campaign like
Yeah.
at all, and for me, I don't do online gaming
Yeah,
like at all.
I suck.
I just can't deal with it, and I'm not good with like just online interactions in general. I'm just like I just like when I play a game, it's sort of to escape other
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
So,
Right. No,
Exactly.
totally.
so it's weird. Like I'll play, like I'll play a multiplayer game if that person's physically in the room with me and stuff like that because it's usually fun. But like, I'm the kind of person who I want the campaign stuff. I want like the story stuff. And I'm just reading these reviews and they're like, it has no campaign. It's got like 10 out. Like it looks awesome. It's like probably one of the best looking games ever put out so far. But there's just like not that much to do. And it's like, I feel like this is kind of like with the technology going the way it is, we're getting more and more of these games that look awesome. And you're like, holy, that's amazing. Like this is such a great looking game. But then you're like, dude, there's not that much happening really.
Right.
That kind of, it's funny that you said that. I know you're not an Xbox fan, but Halo 4, going from Halo 3 to 4, then again, this was nearing the 360's end of the life.
Right.
And I could not believe how many pixels and shaders and everything they packed into Halo 4 running on that hardware. Have you, well, Jeremy, I know you've seen it. Have you seen it, Ian?
I had an Xbox back in the day, and I'm trying to remember. It's hard for me to keep track of which Halo it was. Because I remember being really pissed off at one of those Halos.
Probably Halo 2.
Like,
I
yeah,
snapped the controller in half. I
Yeah,
remember
maybe
that ending.
2 or I just remember seeing like the previews. It was like this is hell on earth, and it showed like these buildings on fire and stuff like that. And then you played it, and it was just like the exact same thing. But no, I don't think I've seen the Halo 4.
Oh man! See, now you need to get an Xbox One. Now you just, you
Yeah,
have to get
I
the
mean-
Faster Meef collection.
Well, I was just looking online, and I saw there's like a Last of Us PS4 bundle. So
Dude,
that's
I want to play that
probably-
game so bad.
Okay,
Dude,
Last of Us is probably the best game
I've
played.
heard so many
Oh,
good
yeah.
things. I want to play it.
You guys are making
but
me
here's
feel
why.
bad for selling my PS4 now. God.
I mean, but here's why. Here's the thing. Awesome story. Like this.
Sure,
does not,
exactly.
It looks great. I mean, it looks fine. Like it's not the best looking game I've ever seen, stuff like that. But the story's amazing. The voice acting. Speaking of voice acting, like the voice acting is phenomenal.
Oh,
yeah.
And it was awesome. And it's a short game. Like it's not a long game, but it's like to me was
It's satisfactory.
It's amazing. Like it has a beginning and a middle and a conclusion and an open for a sequel, and that's like perfect to me.
Don't forget the problem between the middle.
Right. Well,
No, I mean, I kind of disagree with you with the whole that game. I thought the graphics
Did you not
were
like it?
No. I
Oh.
loved it. Don't get me
Okay.
wrong. That game, I will be totally honest, I cried at the end of
oh
it.
yeah. Oh, I was
Flat
wrecked
out.
for like 3 days. I was like,
God, I don't want to spoil it for you at all, Jeremy, but that
Yeah, no.
game
I'll
on
kill you.
PS4, the graphics, because this is the remastered version. I
Oh, the
believe.
remastered.
right.
For-
See,
on-
I,
yeah. You
I
didn't play
haven't
that.
seen the review. Yeah, I played like the first one, and like I was saying, it looked like a PS3 game. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
It looks good, but not amazing. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, the graphics. Oh, dude, and like you said, God, now I feel bad for it.
See?
I just sold my PS4.
It's karma.
I'm a huge Halo fan, as I'm sure you really don't know. But I just bought the Halo 5 Xbox One, and I had a PS4 that I never used, and my other Xbox. So GameStop had a deal where, oh hey, you trade in your old system, you get like $250. So I sold my PS4 for cash.
Usually they're like, you get $5.
Right?
Usually, yeah.
So I sold my PS4 for cash, and then I traded in my Xbox One. And needless to say, I walked out with like $600 with the cash I have in my PS4. So they had this Elite console, Xbox One, coming out, and I don't know where I was going with that. But
Anyways, you got it.
Solid state drive, and I miss my PS4 now.
So now you want to play Last of Us?
I hate you guys.
Yeah.
Speaking of like games and stuff, do you have any other hobbies that you do that are not related to like art or games or stuff that's just off the wall or that you like enjoy?
I mean, nothing. Yeah, I mean, nothing super off. Like I mentioned, I just got into building these Gundams, which I want to keep that in the DL because
sure.
Which has been like that's it's just a different way to think.
Yeah.
So I do that kind of between art projects. And it's just it's really nice to just follow instructions and just do.
Dude, that's cool. I was directing these music videos last month, and as part of the the script I wrote, these guys are building Legos, so I went out and I bought like these like the Starship Lego Star Wars, and then the AT-AT Walker, and I'm sitting there for like 4.5 hours building Legos, and I was just like, dude, I've missed this.
Like it's just like a completely like right brain kind of right brain, left brain. It's whichever one side of the.
It's like creative.
That one.
All you've got to do is follow directions, and at the end, there's like this sense of satisfaction and accomplishment that you like made this really cool piece.
Gundams are like Legos on steroids. Like and the instructions are not in English, so that's always really fun.
Oh,
that's so cool.
So I've been getting into that, but the main thing is that before I started getting into comics, is I was pretty sure I was going to be a chef. So
no way. That's amazing.
So I cook every single day. Like I make dinner every single day for like me and my girlfriend and stuff like that. And but that's pretty much my other hobby is like I'm really into food
style. Like
that explains a lot of the food motifs in Showside.
I see. That's the thing. Someone else pointed that out to me, and I was like, of course I'm gonna have food. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, you don't like food? Come on, man. I mean, I do a lot of. I'm a big, and I don't know if you guys know like the names of chefs. I'm a big David Chang fan.
Okay.
He does like Korean / like Southern United States fusion.
Ooh.
Which is like
impressive.
which I'm really into. Like he has this recipe for fried chicken that has like, it's like kind of like Asian ingredients.
I'm coming over for dinner.
I was about to say,
rocks. And what's great is that like I can't eat a ton of bread, like because bread kind of messes me up a little bit.
Sure.
And then I'm sitting on my ass all day long, so I kind of try to watch what I eat. You know what I mean? And so it's like it basically whatever, like we're talking about cooking, and I'm gonna get way too into it, but I'll like so basically like you brine this chicken in like a mix of like salt and sugar, and then you don't do any breading or anything like that, and then you fry it, and because it brines for like 6 hours,
wow,
and the sugar that's in like gets into the skin, so when you deep fry, like the skin naturally gets really crispy, so you don't need that like breading and stuff like that. And then it comes with this thing called octo vinaigrette, which is a vinaigrette they developed for the restaurant that was made to go on octopus, and they found out it tastes really good on fried chicken. And that has like, ponzu and soy sauce and scallions and ginger and garlic and just like all this stuff that's amazing,
That's legit.
Yeah, so like that's so this guy, he's like the rock star of cooking right now too. So it's very cool.
So when you're at cons, do you go eat out a lot at different places?
I'm that asshole. We're going out to, I'm the one who tries to like find cool places to go. And it's great. You can usually, I've been, I'll be honest with you, man. Like New York Comic Con is a tough slog to get through, but there's so much good food that
no doubt.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't care. Like I don't like New York is not my favorite city. I will be upfront about it. Like I'm too many people. Ubers. I like the Ubers. I hate cabs. Like, but there's just so many people, and it's just a completely different sort of like culture there.
Sure.
Like being kind of very, being aggressive is just a common thing. Like you just have to be like that.
Is everybody there? I'm probably gonna get shot for this again, but is everybody there just like an asshole? Like I've never been to New York, but you know how you always see that.
Not that. It's because there's so many people.
You just have to be in a more aggressive type.
Yeah, you have to be like that. And I have to change my demeanor too. Like it's way different from going from Savannah, Georgia, where I am, where everybody's just like, morning, this and that.
Give them a sweet tea.
Yeah, where it's like, I'm walking in, and all this kind of, stuff. People are like, so I have friends from New York, and I'm just always like, man, you guys, they walk really fast. That's the first thing I noticed. It's like everybody walks super fast. And then I'm talking to my New York friends, and they're like throwing themselves out in traffic to get cabs. I'm just like, oh, dude, like it's pretty intense. But that said, like I love I'm probably moving to Los Angeles either next year or the year after.
Nice.
Which I'm excited about, and I love California, but the food in New York City is like some of the best I've ever had. So that's like that is the reason I go to New York Comic Con. It's not like it's not for the comics or the con. It's for the food surrounding the Javits Center.
Nice.
But
Don't get Jeremy started on LA.
Oh gosh, I was just there shooting a video, and I to go 10 miles, I sat in traffic for 2 hours, and I wanted to
LA's wild,
destroy everybody.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, but
it's a cool place for sure, and there's a lot of opportunity.
It's definitely a cool place, and it's not as, there's this stereotype of LA as being like this super shallow, whatever place. And sure, Hollywood was definitely like,
oh yeah.
But
it's not like that everywhere
because like everything surround. There's a huge, there's a lot of cultures and stuff like that. And there was a really big Filipino culture, like kind of around that Hollywood area.
Oh, absolutely.
So I just ate like the best Filipinos ever, and that's basically like what I did. Like I'm surprised I'm not like 400 pounds. Like it's kind of, but
it's
I had like the best ramen I've ever had in my life around the Silver Lake area.
Beautiful.
It's funny that you started talking about how you wanted to be a chef and trying new foods because I just discovered pho.
Pho?
Pho.
Or
how do you pronounce it? Pho? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, it's pho. Yeah,
I
pho.
just recently discovered that. Where has that been my entire life?
Yeah, it's like amazing, and this is what sucks for me is so I go to New York for New York Comic Con, and there's this I couldn't get into David Chang's restaurant Momofuku because they don't take reservations. There's a line out the door like constantly, and and that I've been dying to go to that place, but there's this other place called Ivan Ramen, and it's this really cool. It's this guy Ivan, and basically what he did is he took dishes like ramen and pho and stuff
I've heard
like
of that.
Yeah, and then he put a kind of a Jewish spin on it because he's Jewish. So like schmaltz is in ramen, and it was like really really good. But yeah, that was kind of like the first time I'd had pho was at his place, and I was the same thing. And they had this thing where they were like, you can order double noodles, and like apparently everybody does double noodles, which I can't do. So I was so
bummed out. Noodles.
Yeah, it was a lot of noodles, but it was awesome. But it was just, it's cool. Like I'm just like into food and into the kind of like the history of food, and I love reading cool things about like restaurant. Like I'm the guy. I'm definitely the like Top Chef, Hell's Kitchen, bake stuff. Like
Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, I watch all that stuff like constantly.
Do you ever watch? You must watch Anthony Bourdain, Parts Unknown or whatever it is.
I actually hate Anthony Bourdain. So.
Oh wow.
That's like my thing. So he had a restaurant in DC that I used to go to all the time called Leal, which was like a French style restaurant. And one was I didn't like the restaurant, which was fine, but it was kind of like his thing. But I don't know. I'm just like not into like Bourdain's kind of persona. Like he's a rad dude and he seems like a super cool guy. But like I've read some of his books, and it just kind of comes off like jockey, I guess, is like the best way I can describe it. Kind of like I'm the cool, awesome guy in food, and I'm more of the. I just want to know like, how you work and stuff like that.
Totally, that's fascinating.
Not your opinions on Guy Fieri, like you know what I mean?
Right.
Like yes, he's a 50-year-old guy with bleached blonde hair, but he's never, and he wears ridiculous shirts, but he's never claimed to be anything else but that. I mean,
right.
The next big, huge cook or whatever, but I don't know. That's just like my personal opinion.
Yeah. Well, cool. In kind of wrapping up a little bit.
Yeah,
we don't want to take too much of your time.
kind of went off on a weird tangent.
No, I love it. That's perfect. That's what we wanted. But kind of what we can expect to see of any like new upcoming projects that are coming out, or different art that you've got.
Yeah, for sure. So going all the way back to the beginning of the conversation, I've been doing a lot of stuff for SJ Games, who are the people who put out the Munchkin card game series. And I was doing the comics, and if you're into Munchkin, I recommend picking them up because there's a card in the back of every single issue that you can't get anywhere else. So that was fun. So I did like 8 issues of that, and then I kind of had to get off that because of Showside. But SJ Games, who do the actual cards, they like my art. They're awesome people. So they were like, well, do you want to start doing the work for us? I was like, yeah, totally, man. So I've been doing a lot of like card designs for them lately. And actually, next year there will be an illustrated, a whole 170 card deck, and it's called like the guest artist edition or something like that, and it's all my drawn versions of like their cards.
Dude, basically. I need to pick that up. I love that game so much.
And then I just finished, now I'm doing all these expansions for him and all these like game covers, and it's just been it's a totally like new, different medium, but I love it. I really like the company because they're just like regular people, and they're just
so cool.
And I finally got the chance to play Munchkin.
Dude, yeah,
and it's really fun.
Yeah, it's really unique. I love that you can either come together to fight something or totally screw over your buddy and just demolish
I played
them.
it. Yeah, I played it with it was me and my
Sounds
girlfriend,
like you and me.
my brother and his girlfriend. We played it and we all loved it. So that'll be out next year. I have a big thing coming up involving Adventure Time that I can't say too much about, but basically, yeah, I'll be very involved with something related to Adventure Time coming up this time next year, and then like Showside's doing awesome. I'm contracted up to 6 issues, and then the trade will be out, and I'll probably re-up. I mean, everything seems to be going great. I mean, the responses have been awesome, like I said, and then kind of as I was saying, I can't say too much at the moment, but
sure.
We're in talks with some cool people about getting the animated series into something actually going. So that's
that'd be killer to see. And then
I'm really excited about it.
One final question for you.
Yeah.
Since this whole project I'm doing, what would you say to, I don't know, someone like Jeremy and I, or someone like a new artist? What advice would you give?
Just like a young artist starting off in the scene that wants to kind of just grow into something. Some advice.
Yeah, for sure. So my advice is kind of roundabout. So I'll do it. I'll explain it as best as I can. We were always taught when I was going to school was there are 3 key issues that are important to getting regularly hired and getting regular work, and you need to cover 2 of those 3 issues. The issues are to be fast, to be extremely talented, or to be extremely nice and ezy to work with. And so the thing is, if you can cover 2 of those 3, you'll usually be all right. Like, as in, you can be, kind of a mediocre talent and stuff like that, but if you meet all your deadlines and you're fast, and easy to work with, like, you'll probably be fine. If you're super, super good, and maybe you're not easy to work with, but you're still fast, you can probably still get work. I put an addendum on that saying, like, generally not a good idea to be a total dickhead.
Generally.
But yeah, so that's what I say all the time. And then the other thing is that stuff takes time, and that's like it's very
Keep
hypocritical.
Never give up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've been drawing since I could hold a pencil. Whether or not that was just and that wasn't me at 5 years old going like, someday I need to pay these bills. It was just that I like to draw.
Right.
Stuff takes time. Thankfully now there's so many more outlets to get your work out there. I say, and this was a mistake I made very early on, was not taking advantage of how the internet reaches billions of people every single day. Like making this podcast, like putting your art online and stuff like that. For a long time I avoided kind of putting myself out there, I'll say like in a condescending kind of arrogant way, being like, oh well, be like, I'm so good, they'll come to me. That never happens. That does not happen these days.
Right.
Like,
Right.
they don't find you. Like, I can tell you from pitching around this animation, I mean, there is so much BS and so many hoops to jump through. It's like, if an artist comes to you and they tell you that a company came to them without any prompt, they're lying. They are liars. They're lying. That does not happen anymore.
There's too many people for that to happen.
Exactly. It's like it's like the whole millennial thing, where baby boomers are like, all I had to do was get up and walk in and ask if they were hiring.
Back in my day, I had to walk through 15 miles of snow with glass and
that's
razor
not how it
blades.
works. You don't just I mean, even my parents have been like, just call them up and ask. It's like, dude, it doesn't roll. Like, it's not the same thing. That's like so sketchy. But yeah, like stuff takes time. And it's hypocritical of me to kind of say that because I was very lucky in that I got work kind of like right out of the gate. That rarely happens, and it kind of did like turn around and kind of like mess me up a little bit because I probably really wasn't prepared to be kind of being vetted by some of these publishers and things like that. Like I was saying, I look back at the Adventure Time Candy Capers thing, and it was awesome that Boom gave me that shot. But it could have been a lot better. I look back at the work and I'm just like, I don't know if I was quite ready yet. I think I was like on the cusp. So that just goes to sort of like stuff takes time, and it's so discouraging sometimes when you post. I see amazing artists on Twitter all the time who will post like some amazing artwork and only get like 1 or 2 likes, and they'll say to me, they'll be like, yeah, I just don't understand like what's going on, and why I'm not this huge phenomenon. And it's just like, dude, it takes time, but you got to keep putting that, and they'll stop putting content out. And that's the biggest mistake you can make is to stop putting content out because you get discouraged.
Right.
You just gotta keep at it, and eventually good stuff does happen. I mean, again, like I said, if you're not a horrible person to work for and all that kind of stuff, then stuff will happen. I mean, that's just kind of the nature of the beast.
Yep. That's great. That's really good. Really good advice.
Appreciate that.
Probably overlong advice.
No, that's actually, I mean, if I were to tell someone advice about getting started in the film industry, it'd be something exactly like that,
Yeah. I mean, Modern Prometheus, who's headed by Sridhar Reddy, he is a filmmaker as well, and he always tells me it's sort of this hurry up and wait situation.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So and that kind of goes to producing content, and then everything kind of grinds to a halt as you try to garnish that that audience, get that audience and stuff like that for sure.
Cool, man. Well, we super appreciate you taking the time to be on the show.
Yeah, man. Thank you for all this advice. It's been a trip.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
So this has been Erik with Truth Requiem with special guests Ian McGinty and Jeremy Tremp. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll talk to you soon.